Hi there. Before we roll on with this episode of the RVE podcast, here's a quick reminder that the RV Entrepreneur Workshop is taking place on September 12th during the big RV show in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This full day of networking, education, food, and fun will be followed by a live recording of this podcast with audience participation. That evening, enjoy dinner, drinks, and live music at the popular RV Life after party. Space is filling up quickly, so get more info and tickets at therventrepreneur.com. Many thanks to our amazing partners making these events possible, including Jayco, Cool RV, Open Road Resorts, Lithionics Battery, Air Skirts, RV TV, Open Roads Fuel Card, Clear 2O, Work Camper News, and more. Visit therventrepreneur.com for complete details and sign up today before tickets are gone. And now, on with the show.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this lifestyle, right? You can do whatever you want. It can look however you want. Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to do it, which is awesome.
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, the weekly show for nomads, work campers, RVers, and entrepreneurs looking to earn a living or build a business while enjoying the RV lifestyle. This week's host is Kimberly Crossland. Let's settle in and enjoy the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, brought to you by RV Life.
Welcome back to another episode of the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host for this week, Kimberly Crossland, and I have the distinct honor of interviewing one of our fellow co-hosts, Rose Willard. Rose Willard is a lifelong entrepreneur who sold everything in 2020 to go and hit the road together with her family. They sold their business, they sold their house, they literally sold everything. And you get to hear the entire backstory about how they sold their fitness franchise and they restarted as content creators, where they now have Reset Your Journey. She has such a compelling story. And on this episode, we talked about the importance of niching down, but also diversifying your income, and how she has handled all these different inflection points of knowing when to sell her former business, when to sell her house, when to go back to part-time travel instead of full-time travel in her RV, and all the different challenges and hurdles and successes, a lot of successes that she's had in between. Before we get into her story, and I know you're excited about it, I want to give you just a quick word about connectivity from the road, because that was one of the challenges that we talked about in this episode. If you're ready to finally solve your mobile connectivity issues, then you are also ready for King Passport. This revolutionary device combines a multi-network cellular router and Wi-Fi booster, ensuring that you stay connected no matter where you roam. With cutting-edge VSIM technology, the King Passport switches to the strongest signal from major network providers, delivering the speeds of up to 300 megabytes. Plus, it supports up to 32 devices, making it perfect for families, just like Rose's family, and remote workers. You get to enjoy versatile data plans tailored to your needs from King, a connectivity leader for over 2 decades. For more information, please visit kingconnect.com. And our podcast listeners get to save 15% with the code RVE2024 at checkout. All right, let's get into this episode with Rose Willard. Hi, Rose. I am so excited to be interviewing you for this episode, because so often we like to sit in front of the microphone and ask all the questions. And now I get to ask all the questions of you and get to know you a little bit better, get to know your backstory, and also help our listeners get to know who it is that they put in their earbuds at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, and also who they might be meeting in person, hopefully, if they're joining us over in Hershey. So before I get too far ahead of myself, Rose, why don't you just share your backstory, share your story about how you started your business, where it's taken you, and what your entrepreneurial life looks like, especially as an RVer as well.
Wow, thanks, Kimberly. This is so much fun. It's cool to be on the other side of the mic today, so I'm looking forward to this. So first, I got into RV life and our business. That kind of came from getting into RV life. I wasn't really introduced to RVing or camping during my childhood. Like for most of my youth and young adulthood, I grew up in an ice rink. I was a competitive figure skater for 16 years, so there wasn't a whole lot of time for anything else. I mean, I rode my bikes and that kind of stuff, but But my husband was a Boy Scout. He camped a lot and he loves hiking. So when I met him 27 years ago, he introduced me to tent camping and hiking. And I just really enjoyed being nature with him and hiking. It was such a nice change. So later on in life, a good friend of mine, they had a motorhome. So that was my first exposure to an RV and kind of really opened up our eyes to another way of camping and traveling. And then 2017, my husband and I looked more into the idea of RVing as a way to travel and camp with our kids on weekends. We did some tent camping with our kids when they were very young, but Glenn and I, our bodies were just not handling that tent camping anymore. But it wasn't really until COVID, for like a lot of people, that we really looked into full-time RVing, what kind of RV would suit us, what style camping we wanted to do, because we were looking for a change in our lives at that point. Before that, my husband and I owned a semi-private personal training and physical therapy facility. It was in person, and we ran that for over 20 years. It was amazing. We helped so many people reach their goals, and we had clients with us for like decades. It was awesome. But we were getting a little burnt out. Glenn was getting burnt out. I was home with the boys. It was great. I could homeschool our boys. But that life just, we felt like something was missing. We had all the stuff, the American dream, right? But the stuff was owning us, and it was time for change. Glenn needed a change in business, and so we thought maybe COVID could be this catalyst. I kept saying, like, we need something big to like push us and make that change. We need a reset. So we watched countless YouTube videos about families traveling full time in RVs, and it really got us thinking. And we both really got into the idea and wondering, how can we do it? How can we support ourselves on the road and homeschooling? Should we sell our business? All those questions. So we planned it all out, and we thought it could work, and decided to go for it. In August of 2020, we sold our house in a day on Facebook. Crazy. It was hot. And most of our possessions, we sold that and moved in with my in-laws nearby, sold our business. And then after much research, we found a used travel trailer and well, not a truck yet. We found it like 8 hours away, paid cash for it, bought a truck, did 2 practice run trips nearby at some local campgrounds. And then we launched in February of 2021, full-timing for 2 years all over the country. Now we've changed our camping style and are at home base in Delaware, where we travel part-time in a Class B van on the East Coast. But I didn't really get to the current business part, but that one is, we started our YouTube channel on the road. That was the start of it. That was Reset Your Journey. Like I said, we called it Reset because we always felt like we needed that reset. And the journey part, we really wanted to inspire other families to kind of take that, make a change in their lives. Maybe not necessarily go into full-time RVing, but maybe just downsize or just be inspired in some way. So the YouTube channel was a start for Reset Your Journey, which went really well. We did that on the road, and it's still going. It's just we've changed our style a little bit. And then our blog, that's going really strong right now. So that's the Reset Your Journey brand that we're working on now still.
I love that. And what I love about your story is you follow those breadcrumbs. And so you're like, we need something really big to kind of push us out of the nest. And then something very big happened worldwide. And you're like, okay, maybe this is it. And then you have another breadcrumb. Well, if we go and get this trailer and then a truck, and maybe this is going to happen. And I think that's so inspiring when you can have those moments where you're like, there is something on the other side of this. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something here, and we're going to do it. We're going to try it. And that's exactly what you guys did. And one step at a time, which is awesome, because that's where you can, really see things come to life. And business is so similar to that too. And you're really painting the picture of that, because business is, I don't always know where this is going to go. I don't know what I'm going to offer. I don't know how I'm going to show up. And yet you do, and you find a way, and you forge your path. So as you're following these breadcrumbs, you start off by watching YouTubers Were there
Yeah.
specific YouTubers that inspired you to say, we could do our own YouTube channel? Or were there specific bloggers where you're like, that seems like a really fun way to kind of share our
Yeah.
adventures and our ideas?
Yeah, it was mainly YouTube. Of course, it was Keep Your Daydream. That was the big one a lot of people talk about, and they're still going strong. They were awesome. They still are. So it really was them because they were a family doing this. And I watched, all their videos from the very beginning, and they were awesome. They hooked you in. It was just about their lifestyle. It's not like they were trying to really give you major tips or anything, but it was really cool, like what they learned, and don't do this, do this. So that was great. There were a few: Less Junk, More Journey, and there were some other ones. I'm drawing a blank right now, but yeah, they really they really hooked us in and made us think we could do this. But we did our research, before really jumping all in like that, and we felt we could do it. But yeah, that's who we kind of looked after for a while.
Yeah. I like that you went out and you saw what other people were doing and thought we could do this. And then you put your own spin on it. So talk to us
Yeah.
about how you took your YouTube channel and
hmm
jump started it. How did you, or do you have any specific tips for that? And then when did the blog come into the picture? Because you said you started with YouTube.
Right. Yeah, we did start YouTube, right as we were going on the road. And that was as a way to document our travels for our kids and for our friends and family. And that went really well. It was fun. We were just doing whatever. It wasn't really structured in any way. And from there, we received a lot of encouraging comments, and it just kind of kept us going. So I was like, all right, we'll keep doing this. We just kind of produced it was almost every week. And then as we got going, it was like, okay, we're getting more subscribers and all that. We're like, well, maybe we could monetize this. So we just kept going, and we did end up monetizing it about a little less than a year in. And we thought, hey, maybe we could make some money with this, not knowing how long it really takes. But soon after that, we did start making about $100 a month. And that was good. That helped pay some things, a little gas here and there, that stuff. But after about a couple years in, almost towards the end of coming off the road, I was getting super burnt out from making videos every week, because you really have to be consistent with it. Those algorithms are a slave to YouTube. So I was getting burnt out. I still enjoyed it, but I needed a break. And our boys were they were on the camera a lot too. And our boys were they were kind of done with it. They're like, I don't want to be on it anymore. I'm like, that's fair. That's fine. So we stopped making those videos consistently. Came off the road, and now still make some videos, but they're just not consistent. And our style has changed, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But as far as maybe advice for starting a YouTube channel on the road, I think you really need to narrow down your niche more. Ours was just our lives, right? Just going through and that. We didn't really think, until we kind of came off the road more to kind of narrow that down and think, well, maybe we could narrow it down more to like RV tips or that kind of stuff. And we had some evergreen content that we started making because we were trying to get to that point, but we just didn't know what direction to really go in from there. Also, if you think you're going to make a ton of money with this, you're wrong, unless your videos go viral. I mean, we had a little bit of clue that, yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money. This isn't going to be our end all income. You really need more income streams going at the time. So yeah, that's some basic advice. And definitely do look to see who's out there and what people are doing, and get ideas, but just be true to yourself. Don't try and be someone else. Just get your, people want to see you and the real you. Be true. None of that rainbows and unicorns experience, right?
Oh gosh, yes. I love that about you too, because you are absolutely exactly who you say you are and how you show up on the podcast. is exactly
Yes.
who you are behind the scenes. And we've had lots of conversations behind the
Right.
scenes, and you're Rose. That's
Right.
it. You're
Yep.
Rose. You don't have to
Yep.
try and be
That's
someone
it.
different on camera. And that's really
Mm-mm.
refreshing. And I actually feel like it should take a load off of people's shoulders of, okay, I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be someone I'm not. I can just show up as me. And I love that you
Yeah.
also referenced, finding your niche, but then also knowing your competition and knowing who else is out there and
Yeah.
what they're saying. Because
Mm-hmm.
in any industry, RV industry, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but then any other industry too that you go to, they're showing up, they're sharing ideas, they're offering content. And a lot of people, I've seen them hesitate when they say, but if someone else is already sharing it, so I don't need to add my voice into the mix, or I don't need to share my
Yeah.
ideas because it's already out there. It might already be out there, but the way that you say it can be different
Yeah.
than how somebody else says it. And you never know the timing that your
Mm-hmm.
videos or your blog are going to show up. You never know if the way you say something is going to be different than the way someone else did. It's just going to click differently for other people. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always a good idea to, yes, know your competition, like you said, but still put yourself out there and show up as you. And when you do that, just like
Yeah.
you said, great things happen. So I
Yes.
love those
The-
tips.
Mhm. Yeah, there's an audience out there for everyone. There really is.
Yes.
I thought I was of that same mindset a long time ago. Like, oh, there's so many RVers out there now doing these videos. Like, why should we keep doing this? And I've had a lot of mentors and people, and even you, saying like, there's enough out there. You just be yourself, keep plugging away. Well, that's kind of like our business too. What we had, it's like we were just true to ourselves. There was a lot of competition out there for personal training, and big gyms and all that, but they fads and they just came and went, and we stayed true and we just kept going, and it paid off. It was great.
Attention detail-oriented explorers. Do you crave adventure and thrive in independent work environments? ID Plans seeks data rock stars to travel the country surveying commercial properties. Gain or use your tech skills like laser measuring and 3D cameras to gather data on everything from rooftop HVAC units to parking spaces. Challenge yourself in all weather conditions and enjoy the flexibility of managing your own schedule. This is more than a job. It's a chance to explore new places while putting your skills to the test. Competitive pay per project awaits. Are you ready to map your next adventure? Send your resume and work history to workcamperjob@idplans.com. Don't miss out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about your blog then. So you talked about niching down.
Okay.
What is the niche of your
Mm-hmm.
blog? How have you guys taken the overarching lifestyle and resetting your journey brand and
Mm-hmm.
niche down a little bit
Yeah.
more?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, we kept our brand. So it's still as like an RV life, RV living brand, but it has changed now being part-time in a Class B van. And like I said, we didn't really know kind of which way to niche down for a while, but we knew we needed a better direction. Okay. So we came off the road and we had this other business opportunity. It was an in-person thing. So my husband's kind of working on that too. So it grounded us for a while. We ended up having to sell our travel trailer and truck. That's what we had first. And then because it was just sitting there. So we didn't have an RV anymore. So we're like, well, we can't really make these videos. That would just be weird. I guess we could do other things. But we said, but we can continue to produce content for our blog that we had. We started that about a year ago. And so that's been progressing well. So we did write more content for that. Glynn is great at that. And we decided to really go all in for the full-time RVer, someone who wants to jump into that lifestyle and they want to know from A to Z, how do I get in there? What do I do? What's an RV? Like what's a motorhome? Like all these questions. So we just decided to produce more content for that, for people new looking to get into it, or we have a lot of stuff just for RVers in general. So we niched down from our lifestyle and like everything RVing to more just getting into full-time, that part. And now that we're in a van, so now we're doing some content with that as well, but it's still like new, like people new getting into it. What do I do? And what was really cool, what made us really go into this blog full force was being a podcast host here on the RV Entrepreneur. I was able to interview Kristen Haynes of The Wayward Home She's a really good blog, for alternative living. And at the time, Kristen was making 6 figures from ads and affiliate alone. I was shocked. I didn't understand how that all worked. I'm like, how can you make money from a blog? But I was really curious, and she gave some really good information. I want to know behind the scenes work, how long it took, and what she did. And then I shared it with my husband, and he thought we should give it a serious go. Try it with our own blog. And we knew it would take a couple of years, start making money, but we already knew how to SEO from some of our mentors, and Glynn loves to write. So we only seriously, like I said, started producing consistent content 12 months ago, and we just hit 14,000 sessions, which means 14,000 people visit our site every month. And it seems to be growing by 1,000 every week. But the really cool thing is that those people are spending on average 2.5 minutes per article reading. They don't just bounce right off. They're actually sitting there reading it. So, which is really good. And about 85% is organic searches. People are just searching us out on Google. And our goal is to get into Mediavine, not Google anymore, which is an advertising medium, a step up from Google ads, which we have now. And so you can make more money. And for the first tier, your site has to be at 10,000 sessions a month. And then for the next one is 50,000. So we're working our way. Just keep plugging away, right?
Yeah. I'm so grateful that you shared those numbers, because it's really helpful not only to understand the trajectory and where you're wanting to go, but how you're getting there, and how you have to keep chipping away at it. There's no such thing as an overnight success, as much as we would love for there to be. It really isn't. And you are able to switch gears. What I also love about your story is you're able to switch gears and continue doing something in the same vein. But, I was talking to someone right before our call about this, where you are a ship, and even if a ship goes even 2 degrees off course, it's going to land somewhere completely different. And so when if you're like, this isn't quite working, like you were saying with your boys, not really wanting to be on the camera anymore, you were getting burnt out of the constant algorithm chasing. I'm a mom, and I've got 2 boys who would also feel the same way. So total empathy there. But when you recognize those points, those little inflection points of something needs to change, we don't have to toss everything in the trash. Maybe we just shift those 2 degrees, and now we're going after Mediavine and on our blog instead of always chasing the YouTube algorithm. And it's okay to do that. So that permission slip is huge. Thank you for sharing that. I also love that you said, you're always learning and looking for new opportunities, which is a really cool approach to business. And another permission slip that I hope that a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they have. So they're not feeling like, well, I started this and I've got to finish it. No, you're allowed to shift course. You're allowed to say, that worked for a season. That was great. And now I'm going to try something else. I mean, you are a lifelong entrepreneur and a lifelong, someone who's lifelong in pursuit of a new challenge with your figure skating growing up. And then, now you go into entrepreneurship with fitness, and now you're on the road. I mean, you're active, and you're really living this lifestyle, which is really cool to see. So I appreciate that so much about you. I do have a question about that shift and that inflection point. So as you were coming off the road after being on the road full time, did you hear any, and I'm going to preface it why I'm asking this after I ask the question, but did you get any kind of pushback around your story changing from your viewers or from anyone who's following along? Because I see a lot of full-timers making that shift. And I've heard from behind the scenes, there is kind of that nervousness of, we're on the road full time, and that's kind of what we were known for. But now we're changing our story, and I don't want to lose all these followers. And so how do I offer that continuity, and how do I, share that with them? I think you're really good at it because you're very authentic and you're very upfront, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your approach and your experience in that.
Yeah, so it's a very good question. And I've heard that before too. I think for us, we didn't really feel a lot of blowback. Like, the way we would feel it is more from our YouTube channel, because they can comment or you lose subscribers or that kind of stuff. So we posted a few update videos like, what's next for reset, like these kind of things. And people were very responsive to that, and they were okay. They're like, you got to do what you need to do. yeah, maybe we lost a few subscribers because we're not like full time on the road anymore. But now that we're in a van, like it's okay. Like people still want to watch what we're producing because they're curious and they know who we are from the beginning. And if you lose some, it's okay. You'll probably gain some new ones along the way. As long as you're not completely pivoting, like you're not in the RV anymore, I don't know, because our name is Reset Your Journey. We could possibly go a new direction, right? It could be something else because reset is pretty, it doesn't say RVing. But, if you, I don't know, I haven't done it complete 360, but the way we pivoted, it still seems to be okay.
Don't let the summer heat dampen your RV adventures. Discover Cool RV's innovative solution for underperforming RV air conditioners. A quick fix at just $84.95 with no shipping cost. Experience a cooler, more comfortable RV with coolrv.com. That's cool with a K, RV.com. Podcast listeners can save 5% with code RVLife.
That's so good. And it's really actually a testament to you guys and the brand that you've built based on that authenticity. It's such an overused word, but it's an important word because people want to connect with somebody, especially when you guys got started during the pandemic. Everybody was living through this glass rectangle and it was so difficult to have that human connection. And so what I'm pulling from your story is when you show up as yourself and you form those relationships, it's okay to switch. It's okay to make adjustments to your business. It's okay to, your story is still the same. Your story is still grounded in who you are and your values and what you're bringing to the world. But when it adjusts a little bit, people want to continue with you because they like you and they know you. Yeah. So that's a really good way to offer that continuity. So I'm glad that you shared that with us. You've talked a little bit about how you sold your travel trailer and your truck, and then now you guys are in a Class B. I want to hear a little bit more about that adjustment, what it's been like for you guys as a family, what it's been like for you with your business, just from being on the road. Has it changed how you work from the road? Do you work from the road now? Fill us in on what your current RV lifestyle looks like.
Yeah, that's good questions. All right, so we bought a Class B van, a Road Trek Zion Slumber, and that carries us all four just fine for the most part, and it sleeps four well, and because not many vans do. And I would personally, honestly, I would say a Class B van, one person, maybe two people, you'd be comfortable. Four people gets a little tight, especially with sleeping. So that's why we are not doing this full time. We decided to do the van because we felt like there'd be a little more flexibility and agility on the East Coast because we're kind of grounded here. And maybe I'll bring that up after. But so we're in the van. It's great, like to be able to be driving a van. And then if you have to go to the bathroom, you just, pull over real quick, go to the bathroom, move on. In our travel trailer, you had to stop, find a good spot on wherever, and then get out and all that stuff. So that's new. That's fun. That's good for us. But sleeping, now my youngest son, we did buy that Luno Life inflatable bed mattress system, which is awesome. It is very good quality. I highly recommend that one if you need it for the front cab. And he loves that for the most part. That's fine. My other son's up in the pop top, which does not have air conditioning heat type of thing. So think more of tent camping up there with a comfy mattress. But I mean, he loves it. As long as we're in good, temps, it's pretty good. And then in the back, my husband and I sleep. This couch thing folds out to a huge king bed type thing. So it's fine. We've gotten used to all those systems, like what bed goes up here, when down, all that stuff. But it's every time you want to go somewhere, right? You got to take everything down, put our bed back. So it's a couch again. Take the air mattress out of the front cab so you can drive and bring that pop top down. And that's fine. But you got to plan a lot more time. It's not as easy as the travel trailer. I do miss the travel trailer. We do miss it. I think the van is a temporary thing, but it's cool. It's a new challenge for us. We're figuring it out, and then we can give that information to viewers and help them out. Because I hear a lot of them be like, will this fit my family for full time? Is this a good choice? And no, so that is what we're doing now. And I forgot the other question. Was that it? Did I answer that
Yes,
completely?
you did. I think that's
The
really,
business.
yeah, the business side of
Working.
things. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So working, we're just kind of part-time. We try and do most of the work at our home base. And so that we're not working in the van. I mean, if we need to, we will, but it's a little harder. That back seat has a table and it's, if the bed's in use, there's no table. You can't really sit and do work. And my husband likes to get up early and do a lot of his blog work first thing, but there's nowhere to go in the van. He can't even go outside because that door opening, that sliding door will just, So like I said, 1 person, 2 person in that, no problem for working, living. 4 people, a little harder, especially for the working part. Sure, it can be done. We just haven't done enough of it yet.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
anything can be done, but just because you
Right.
can
But
doesn't mean it's always the best solution for it.
right.
But it's
Right.
really good that you're
Right.
having these experiences and kind of offering the different perspective of what it's like
Right.
to work and to travel in these different
Mhm.
vehicles. And nothing ever
Yeah.
has to be forever. With an RV, goodness knows, nothing ever is forever. They break
No,
all the
and that's
time,
the
and that's
beauty of
okay.
this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this lifestyle, right? You can do whatever you want. It can look however you want. And yeah, it's great.
There's no right or wrong way to do it, which is awesome.
Mm-mm.
You
It is
guys do a
awesome.
lot of boondocking or going off grid, don't
Mm.
you?
Mhm. Yeah,
Can you
we
speak
do.
more to
Yeah.
that? Because I think that you have a few
Sure.
resources for people who are maybe like
We
me,
do.
who are a little
Yeah.
bit more hesitant
Yeah.
about it.
Oh. Yes, we do have some a free download, that kind of stuff. Lots of information about boondocking. That came from being able to boondock and free camp out west, because on the East Coast here, there isn't anything at all. So when we traveled from Delaware on that first trip out, we made our way west and we discovered all this wonderful land to camp on, and it's free. We did our research before we knew that was there, but when we saw it and we're like, wow, this is awesome. And we did have a travel trailer that had batteries and a couple solar panels, and we had 2 generators. So those are things you need. Maybe not solar panels necessarily at first, but those are things you need to kind of go out at least for a couple days, and boondock. So boondocking is dry camping. You have no hookups whatsoever. Sometimes you're just out in the middle of nowhere. But there are apps like iOverlander that you can find. Very good sites. And we share a lot of that on our YouTube channel and our blog as well.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about you about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks now. I did 5 nights in a row off grid. No hookups, no
Oh,
nothing. I was so
yes.
proud of myself. A little nervous,
Yes.
but we did have the generators, like you said. I did not plan to do any work, so I kind of set up the business, which I imagine you'd have to do. I at least did that,
Yeah.
where I knew that there's not going to be Wi-Fi, even on my cell phone. I knew that it was going to be very difficult to check in, check out. And so you set it up and you just kind of set that expectation, not only for your clients, if you have clients, but also for yourself, that
Right.
you're allowed to take a load off your shoulders. But we did have the solar panels, which is life-changing. And you also said that the generators, and we're out west. And so when you say there's not as many opportunities out east, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, there was. So it was funny because we're looking at our route. I just have to share this personal story because you had brought that up. We were looking at our route. We used the Dyrt for this one. And my husband was like, there's this beautiful resort right here it was like, I think $85 a night. So not like too much, but it was $85 a night. Or we could go 2 miles this way and there's a free spot. And I'm like, okay, just, roll up your sleeves, lady. You can do this. And I'm so glad we did, because it was really fun and it was gorgeous. And I think our closest neighbor was maybe like a half a mile away. We could kind of see them, but we could never hear them. They couldn't hear our kids having sword fights with sticks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was really fun to be out there.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring that up because I felt inspired by you. And I also wanted to offer that inspiration. And I love that this is just, again, goes back to your original story of, other people are sharing it. A lot of people talk about boondocking, but having known you and Glynn, having worked, alongside you here on the RV Entrepreneur, but just knowing that you've talked about it and encouraged him, like, I should give it a try. So it
Yeah.
just goes back to
Yeah.
the type of content that you're sharing, and you never know what relationship you're going to form with someone through the
That's
screen
true.
and how it's going to impact their desire to travel, their desire to start a business, their desire to whatever it is that you talk about. So wanted to just offer that out there. And also, if anyone is like me and is
Appreciate it.
hesitant to boondoggle,
Appreciate it.
go check out your
Yeah.
blog because you got
No.
great resources.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and that I want to go back. I hope we have some time, but back to like how we supported ourselves on the road, because the listeners might be wondering, well, how did, they sold their business, their house, like what kind of real income did you guys have? Well, initially we didn't have much of an income per se. We lived off the sale of our home and our business. We seller financed the business so that we received a monthly payment. And then we also had a good amount of money saved that we didn't touch, but and we still received a little small income from a handful of clients that pivoted with us to online training during COVID. So we had little things, but it didn't add up to what we were making. But but we kept our expenses low. And that helped a lot. So like I said, we camped for free out west, all the boondocking. We really got into that. And our expenses were only fuel and propane, groceries, water, and to dump our tanks, because we did mostly boondocking. We did stay at a campground every now and then to refresh and get water and that kind of stuff. But, we also kept most of our experiences free or low cost. We had that National Parks Pass that we paid a yearly fee of $80. So it gave us free access to all the national parks and monuments. And our boys did all the junior ranger books and activities from them, as you probably know, as part of our road schooling. We did a lot of that. We also met a lot of generous people on the road that freely would just teach our boys a little bit, like a new skill, how to play like a ukulele, steel drums, some more kayaking, some more educational kind of things like geology. That we had some geologists about the rocks that they had found and the boys found on our hikes one time. So it was awesome. You meet so many great people, and we did splurge on a couple experiences, but we could because we saved so much on most other things. So you just have to be creative. Like we didn't really have that income, but we could do so much with that. It was great.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's really encouraging to know that you don't have to have that specific total replacement of income for when you're going to go full time on the road. Right. Yes, of course, you want to pay your bills. You have a plan, but you don't have to, you are also able to save a lot through the mode of travel that you choose and the way you choose to show up on the road and take everything in. Right. I also love the point that you made about community on the road and all the people that you meet are able to teach your boys about geology on the hiking trail. Yeah. Like what a cool way for them to learn and what a great experience. How old were your kids when you went full time?
They were 7 and 10.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I bet they loved it.
It was a good age. They loved it. I wish we had done it sooner.
Yeah.
I really do. Because then they would have grown up more with it. But I don't know. We did it at the right time. It worked for us. It just, COVID pushed us. It was great. We're all about getting out of our comfort zone, being vulnerable, trying new things. So it just worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is there anything else you want to leave the listener with before we close out?
I think we talked about a lot, but I think as an entrepreneur and someone in RV life, which I think they really go hand in hand, also homeschooling, right? It's all that you have that control, but really be passionate about something that you're doing. That should be just kind of innate. You can't really force passion. And know that being an entrepreneur takes a lot of grit and tenacity and resilience and adaptability and patience and trust, self-trust, very crucial. And it also takes some very good discipline to set those work time limits, right? because as you know, Kimberly, it's so easy to just keep that pedal down and just keep working. But we all need to step away and take care of ourselves and family, if you have family. So yeah, I think go for it. If you have it in you to be that entrepreneur, go for it. Have your mentors, but if you believe in something so much, do it. What do you have to lose? But if you are in a corporate full-time job prior to all this, before jumping into entrepreneurship, make sure that you build up enough funding. You save that money so when you jump into entrepreneurship, you can go full force. You don't have to worry about not producing an income right away, because that'll happen. You have to work really hard and long, and nothing financially may come of it. So that's a good point in the beginning, is to do that. But other than that, go for it, guys.
I love it. I love the inspiration. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing all those details about where you've been, where you're going, how you follow those breadcrumbs to get started. And I'm so excited to be meeting you in person at the Hershey show. I hope that our listeners come and meet us too, because we'd love to shake your hand and hear your story as well. I mean, everyone has such a unique approach to business, and I think it's going to be so fantastic to be with everyone in the same room. I'm super excited.
I am super excited too. Thank you for having me on today. This is so much fun. And like you said, I cannot wait to meet you and Jim, because we have not met in person.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of our wonderful listeners. So excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. It's great to get to know you a little bit better and to hear your story. Thank you. I absolutely loved hearing Rose's story. I think she has just so many compelling elements to it, but a few of the things that stood out to me were the fact that she took her journey as a lifelong entrepreneur from having that business, the brick and mortar business, prior to hitting the road full time, and really took all those lessons and applied them to the new direction. I love how she talked about niching down and the importance of just really focusing your content, focusing on where you want to lean in. She also talked about the importance of diversifying your income. It is so stressful, I can speak from personal experience as well to this, to have only one source of revenue. If that revenue source ends or dries up somehow, which is always possible, you need to be able to have something that you can fall back on. And Rose's story is a testament to that. And I just love that that was one of her big takeaways from her journey. We also talked about the importance of knowing your competition. It's okay sometimes to look sideways and just see what other people are doing. Oftentimes, if you do it through the lens of finding your own unique value proposition, then it's okay. Then it lets you understand better what you can offer to your audience, to your customers, whoever it is that you serve. And finally, I love the way that she handles all these inflection points with ease. I can tell you, having worked with her behind the scenes here at the RV Entrepreneur podcast for over a year now, every single time we've got a question that comes up or we're planning something new for you guys, she always handles it with so much grace and enthusiasm. And I really believe that that comes as a result of her having gone through so many different inflection points in her own business and making all these different decisions. She just has such a strong knack for it. So there's so much that we can learn from her. Thank you, Rose, for being on. Thank you for being part of the RV Entrepreneur community. And if you want to say hi to Rose, ask her any questions that you might have, or just go and support her. Absolutely go and check out Reset Your Journey and come and say hi to her inside the RV Entrepreneur Facebook group. All of your podcast hosts are hanging out there. We love hearing from you, love chatting with you and getting to know you even better in between the episodes. I hope to see you in just a couple of weeks at our Hershey RV Entrepreneur Show. We are going to be having a workshop. We're going to be having a live recording and lots of networking in between, where you can go and link arms with Rose, Jim, and myself. And we're going to just get to know you better. And it's going to be just absolutely so incredible. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, if there are any tickets still available, I know this event will be selling out. Go online and go and grab those tickets. I hope to see you then. And thank you, as always, for being part of the RV Entrepreneur community.
RVing is more than just a hobby. It's a community. When you join RV Life, you're not just gaining access to a suite of tools. You're becoming part of a vibrant community of fellow RV enthusiasts. share your experiences, learn from others, and make your RV journey even more memorable. Visit rvlife.com to become a part of our community and start making connections that last a lifetime.